Once upon a time, there was a prosperous kingdom named Samia, ruled by a wise and kind king, King Nuru. Under his rule, the kingdom was a haven of peace and prosperity. However, despite all this wealth and serenity, King Nuru was worried about one major problem: his only son, Prince Jomo. Jomo was a charming and intelligent young man, but he had not yet found true love. King Nuru, wanting his son to marry for love rather than political convenience, encouraged Jomo to find a companion among the people. Jomo, eager to find a woman who would love him for who he was and not for his title or wealth, decided to disguise himself as a poor man to conduct his search in secret. With his father's permission, Jomo traded his royal clothes for modest peasant attire. He took a bag with some provisions and a walking stick, then left the palace early in the morning. Before he left, King Nuru gave him a silver ring, a symbol of their lineage, which he was to keep hidden until the right moment. Jomo wandered from village to village, observing and learning from ordinary people. He worked in the fields, shared simple meals with villagers, and listened to their stories. He was surprised by the warmth and generosity of the people he met, qualities he hadn't often seen in aristocratic circles. One day, while passing through a small village named Moyo, Jomo met Zoe, a young woman of remarkable beauty and kindness. Zoe lived with her sick grandmother and worked hard to support them. Despite the hardships, she remained joyful and full of life. Jomo, pretending to be an orphan named Kito, asked Zoe for work. Moved by his apparent sincerity, she agreed to hire him to help cultivate their fields and care for her grandmother. Over time, a deep friendship developed between them. Jomo admired Zoe's strength and generosity, while she appreciated Kito's kindness and humility. Jomo realized he had fallen in love with Zoe, but he wondered if she would still love him if she knew he was a prince. One day, he decided to test her feelings by telling her a story. He spoke of a prince disguised as a poor man to find true love and asked what she would do if she discovered her closest friend was actually a prince. Zoe, without hesitation, said she would continue to love him for who he was, not for his title or wealth. Her sincere words warmed Jomo's heart and strengthened his belief that Zoe was the woman he had been looking for. The moment of truth arrived. One day, Jomo decided to reveal his true identity to Zoe. He took her to a secluded spot near a stream, a place where they had spent many moments together. There, he removed his silver ring and showed it to Zoe. "Zoe," he said with emotion, "I must tell you something. I am not who you think I am. I am Prince Jomo of Samia. I disguised myself as a peasant to find true love, and I have found it in you." Zoe, initially shocked, looked at Jomo for a long time. Then, with tears in her eyes, she took his hand. "It doesn't matter your title or wealth, Jomo," she said softly. "I love you for who you are, for your generous heart and sincerity." With Zoe and her grandmother's blessing, Jomo returned to the palace to announce the news to his father, King Nuru. The king, delighted to see his son return safely, was thrilled with Jomo's choice. He ordered preparations for a grand celebration to announce the prince's engagement to Zoe. Zoe, now dressed in royal garments, entered the palace with Jomo. The villagers of Moyo were also invited to the celebration, showing the recognition and unity between the people and the royalty. However, not everyone was as enthusiastic as King Nuru. Some members of the royal court, jealous and suspicious, tried to discredit Zoe because of her humble origins. They plotted and spread rumors to sow doubt in Jomo and the king's minds. Zoe, though hurt by these attacks, remained dignified and courageous. She proved her worth by helping solve problems in the palace, using her wisdom and compassion. Gradually, she earned the respect and admiration of those who had criticized her. One day, a plot to harm Zoe was uncovered. Evidence of false accusations and betrayals was found in the quarters of one of the king's most influential advisors. Thanks to Zoe's intelligence and the loyalty of a few faithful allies, the plot was thwarted. King Nuru, furious, banished the conspirators from the kingdom. This ordeal strengthened the unity between Jomo and Zoi and their determination to rule with justice and compassion. The day of Jomo and Zoi's wedding finally arrived. The ceremony was magnificent, filled with dances, songs, and traditional festivities. Guests came from all corners of the kingdom, bringing gifts and blessings for the royal couple. Under a starry sky, King Nuru blessed the union of his son and Zoi, marking the beginning of a new era of peace and prosperity for the kingdom of Samia. Jomo and Zoi, hand in hand, vowed to rule with love, wisdom, and fairness. Years passed, and Jomo and Zoi ruled together over Samia. Their love and dedication to the people brought prosperity and harmony to the kingdom. They ensured that every decision made was guided by justice and empathy, making sure even the humblest subjects felt valued and heard. Zoi, in particular, played a crucial role in integrating the most remote villages and marginalized populations into the kingdom. With her deep understanding of the everyday challenges of peasant life, she implemented programs to improve living conditions and provide education and healthcare opportunities for all. Jomo, inspired by his wife's wisdom, strengthened alliances with neighboring kingdoms and worked to establish policies of peace and fair trade. Together, they made Samia a model of enlightened governance and unity. One day, a great drought struck the kingdom of Samia. The rivers dried up, the crops died, and famine threatened. Zoi, recalling her own childhood marked by hard work and resilience, proposed solutions to conserve water and distribute the available resources fairly. With Jomo, she launched irrigation projects and innovative farming techniques, encouraging solidarity among villagers to overcome the crisis. Their inspiring leadership rallied the people around them, and together, they overcame the drought. Thanks to their joint efforts, the kingdom of Samia quickly regained its prosperity. The harvests were abundant, the markets thrived, and cultural and commercial exchanges with neighboring kingdoms increased. The grateful inhabitants regularly held celebrations to honor the benevolence and wisdom of their rulers. Children grew up hearing stories of Zoi and Jomo, learning the importance of love, justice, and community commitment. These values became the foundation of education in the kingdom. One day, Zoi announced she was expecting a child. The news was received with immense joy throughout the kingdom. King Nuru, now elderly, saw in this birth the assurance that Samia's future was in good hands. When the day came, Zoi gave birth to a healthy boy they named Bohoti, meaning luck in Swahili. The people celebrated the birth of the heir with festivities that lasted several days. Jomo and Zoi decided to raise Bohoti by instilling in him the values they cherished. From a young age, Bohoti was encouraged to spend time among the people, understand their lives, and share their concerns. He learned the history of his family and the challenges they had overcome to maintain peace and unity. Guided by his parents' example, Bohoti grew up as a humble, wise, and generous prince, ready to take over when the time came. His educators quickly realized he possessed the same compassion and determination as his parents. Years later, delegations from neighboring kingdoms came to visit Samia to pay tribute to Jomo and Zoi. Among them were former rivals turned friends thanks to Jomo's diplomatic efforts. They brought gifts and expressions of gratitude for the help and inspiration Samia had provided. The festivities of this visit were grand, celebrating not only the renewed alliances but also the peace and prosperity Jomo and Zoi had established. Time passed, and King Nuru, aged, eventually left this world. His passing was a moment of great sadness for Jomo, Zoi, and the entire kingdom. A magnificent funeral ceremony was held to honor his memory and contributions to Samia. Jomo, now king, stood alongside Zoi and their son Bohoti, promising to continue ruling with the same wisdom and kindness as his father. Under the reign of Jomo and Zoi, Samia entered a new era of prosperity. They continued to promote education, justice, and equality. Bohoti, now a young man, actively participated in the kingdom's affairs, learning the workings of governance and preparing for his future as king. The kingdom of Samia became a model for others, not only for its wealth but especially for its commitment to human and spiritual values. At the end of their reign, Jomo and Zoe looked back with pride and satisfaction. They had found true love and ruled together over a prosperous and harmonious kingdom. Their story, told by griots, became a timeless legend, inspiring generations of leaders and lovers. Bahati, ready to take over, promised to follow in his parents' footsteps, ensuring that their legacy of wisdom, love, and justice endured through the ages. Thus, the story of the prince disguised as a poor man to find true love ended in a triumph of love, wisdom, and humanity. The kingdom of Samia thrived under Jomo and Zoe's benevolence, and their legend remained etched in the hearts of all who heard their story.